Welcome to Neural News Hub. I'm your global analyst, and we're jumping right into it.
The date is March 29, 2026. And listen to this, a 48-hour countdown has just begun. OpenAI's Shield 1 is taking over command at the Pentagon. At the same time, India is locking down its maritime borders with brand new AI-native radar. It's happening. The machines are taking the lead. So the big question on everyone's mind, is the new Islamabad peace deal a genuine breakthrough, or is it just a tactical pause before the storm? Let's break down the developments that are defining this incredible shift.
All right, first up, we have to talk about how AI is completely rewriting the rulebook for military command. And we're not talking about just anything. We're talking about the most sensitive area you can possibly imagine. You see, at the very heart of this is something called NC3. That's Nuclear Command, Control, and Communications. Look, this isn't just some random system. It's the absolute bedrock of global security. It's the architecture that connects a presidential order to a nuclear launch. And now, AI is being plugged right into its core. Now, the official line from the Pentagon, this is straight from the commander of US Stratcom, is crystal clear. They say AI is just a tool. It's here to help humans make decisions faster, not to replace them. The final call, the ultimate authority, they insist, will always remain with a person. That's the whole human-in-the-loop principle you hear so much about.
But here's where it gets really tricky. There's a massive gap opening up between that official policy and what's actually happening on the ground. On one side, you have the rules, the contracts with OpenAI, that say a human must be responsible. But on the other side, you've got threats like hypersonic missiles that move so incredibly fast, there's immense pressure to automate. The military is building what they call an AI-driven kill web that can pull in data and react faster than any human ever could. So the policy says one thing, but the need for speed is pushing in a totally different direction.
And this isn't happening in a vacuum. This huge technological shift is happening right alongside a monumental economic one. So let's switch gears from the battlefield to the bank, because the US dollar's long-held dominance in the global oil trade is facing its biggest challenge ever. Remember this number, $12 billion. That's how much Saudi Aramco, the biggest oil producer on the planet, has paid out to its Chinese investors in yuan-denominated dividends since just 2020. That is a massive signal that a whole new system is starting to operate outside of the US dollar.
So you're probably asking, how does this petro-yuan recycling thing actually work? Well, it's actually a pretty simple three-step loop. Step 1, China buys oil from Saudi Arabia but pays for it in its own currency, the yuan. Step 2, instead of swapping those yuan for dollars, the Saudi investment fund just plows that money right back into Chinese projects. And what's the result? Step 3, a closed financial loop that completely, totally bypasses the US dollar. This slowly weakens the power of sanctions and creates a whole parallel financial world.
And believe me, this isn't some slow, far-off change. Just look at how fast this is moving. Back in 2023, China brokers a peace deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran, something nobody thought was possible. Just 2 years later, Saudi Aramco puts a $10 billion investment into a Chinese refinery. And that brings us to today. A $40 billion currency swap line is now active, and that is fundamentally changing how the world prices and trades oil.
And this is where it all comes together. The same forces that are rewiring global finance are also completely revolutionizing the tools of war. We're seeing new alliances pop up and a terrifyingly efficient new way of looking at the battlefild.
$700. No, that's not a typo. That is the actual cost of a single Wild Hornet combat drone, the same ones Ukraine is using with absolutely devastating effect. I mean, just think about that. When your weapon costs less than a new smartphone, the entire economic model of war gets flipped completely on its head.
And we are not talking about small numbers here. This is warfare on an industrial scale. Ukraine is already contracted for 1.5 million drones, and they have the ability to build 4 million a year themselves. This is what asymmetrical warfare looks like now. It's about quantity having a quality all its own.
So how are they building so many? Through new, fast-moving alliances. You've got Ukraine bringing its incredible, battle-tested research and development. Poland is providing the critical logistical and geopolitical bridge to the West. And then you have Taiwan, through companies like Thunder Tiger, supplying the high-tech components for the next generation of really lethal drones.
Okay, so you've got AI in command. The global financial system is in flux, and cheap, deadly drones are everywhere. So how are countries supposed to defend themselves? Well, that brings us to our next point, the mad dash to rewrite national defense doctrines for this new reality.
Let's take a look at India's answer to this problem. It's an ambitious, AI-powered defense shield called Raksha Kavach. It's basically a 5-layer defense cake. It starts way up in space with satellites giving the first warning. Then you have aircraft extending that view. Then ground radars track everything with precision. But layer 4, that's the brain. It's an AI command center that analyzes every threat and decides the best way to take it out. And that happens in layer 5, using missiles, lasers, or electronic warfare.
And this is a serious long-term plan. It was announced back in 2025, and they're planning for the first phase to be up and running by 2030. The goal is to have a full-spectrum shield, one that can even stop hypersonic weapons, completed by 2035. We're talking about a multi-decade effort to build a fortress against these 21st century threats.
So what does it all mean when you put these pieces together? You've got AI speeding up military decisions, new financial systems funding new kinds of war, and drone swarms being built by new alliances. We are walking into an era where the very nature of conflict is being redefined by code.
You see, the old red lines that govern conflict are being rewritten in algorithms. And here's the most chilling part of all of this. While the diplomats are sitting around talking, the algorithms are already busy calculating the next strike. The pace of change is simply outrunning our old ways of managing conflict. It leaves us with one really powerful question. In a world that's increasingly run by code, who gets to write the rules? Stay ahead of the machine. Please hit the like and subscribe button for more such updates. Thanks for joining us.